So now, we had to pick very carefully who the speaker we had right after lunch for the typical kind of conference coma that follows. And so we've got a lot of pressure on Alan here. I've known Alan Nance for quite a while now. We both were early entrepreneurs starting some of the first email service providers. And so his company, WhatCounts, is one of the top ESPs. They're based in Atlanta. They've been pretty acquisitive, acquiring some other ESPs as well. And then since then, I've really had the pleasure of getting to know Alan in a different world as well, working with startups as an angel investor and finding other companies to help grow too. So he's worked with obviously WhatCounts, but many other companies as well. Alan is a really dynamic speaker and we're lucky to have him here today. And so I'm going to hand it off to him, and he's going to talk a little bit about, in particular, one of their key clients, one of a very large email sender that's got a real strong email program, and really what matters to them. Of all the things we're talking about today, what really makes a difference for email senders today? So, Alan, please take it away.
Thank you. All right, guys. Josh told me not to put you guys to sleep, so what I wanted to tell you is I know the morning has not been technical, so I thought it was time for a technical presentation. Very good. Everybody's awake. So in all seriousness, what I would say is it's a pleasure to be here. I have been an email entrepreneur. I seriously consider myself an email entrepreneur for about 15 years. And it really is, I am definitely one of the people, and I'm proud to say this, that I love email. And I'm delighted to be here today. And I'm certainly one of the people that will quickly blog and quickly get pissed off when somebody says that email's dead and there's at least, whatever, 1 or 2, 3 articles, every year. So what I wanted to do today was pretty simple, which is I knew the context of the conference. And I certainly speak a lot, but what I didn't want to do today is give some stupid case study or do some product demo, right? I mean, I don't think that's the reason that everybody came to this conference. But what I did want to do is I did want to be one of the speakers that gave everybody in this room who is a developer, who is a product manager, who is innovating email, who's working on email, a different prism to look through. And that prism is the prism of a sender, but more importantly, the prism of a Fortune 25 company that generates $100 million a year through email. And it's a very integral part of their business, right? I mean, regardless of what we all say, email is a huge revenue generator. And I wanted to just, for all of you innovators in the room who I have a deep appreciation for and a deep love, and I'd love to get an opportunity to know everybody in this room, just a prism to look through. Does that make sense? So let's spend a little bit of time, and I want to make sure that I save time at the end for questions. So real quick, I had to put my surfing photo up because everybody's been asking me why my hand is broke. And I wanted to let everybody know that I had a tragic fall while I was surfing in Southern California. I know everybody feels so bad for me. I can feel your empathy right now. It's just simply overwhelming. But in all seriousness, I'm very active on Twitter. I blog a lot. I have a personal blog. I write a lot about email. I'm certainly happy to field any questions that people have over Twitter. So please send them my way. When I got ready for today's conference, I wanted to ask myself one thing, which is I really asked myself, why do I love email? As a CEO, as an active investor, as somebody who participates in the email business, what is it that I love about it? And I really had to try to sort of succinct that down to a minute. And the reason that I love email seriously is, number one, it's a global communications channel, right? It's ubiquitous across the globe. There's over 4 billion users. It's on its way to 5 billion. The other thing that I love about it is, as a marketer, the reality is this, is that for every dollar that somebody spends on email, they get $40 back. I can tell you as an entrepreneur, you better either be in the business of saving people money or making people money, right? And the thing I love about email is that it does both. But the thing I was most excited about being in this room with you group of people is this. I believe in my heart that email is ripe for innovation. It is ripe for innovation. And everybody that's in this room is going to be a big, huge part of that. So that's why I'm at Inbox Love, and at WhatCounts, that's why we love email. But more importantly, for my own self, it's why I love email. So when I think about innovation, this is what I think about. We have 700 clients that we send about 50 billion emails a year for. And if we were to turn the clock back 5 years, everybody could get in their DeLorean, turn the flux capacitor on, get to 88 miles an hour, and go back in time 5 years. Everybody that was sitting in that room, if they were in a room like this, I would have told you that all of the email marketers and all the senders in the world were all worried about personalization. And what could they have done at that point in time to not suck today? Because what I find fascinating about email is this. If, at least in the business that I'm in, if I'm in a room with a bunch of email marketers, nobody in the room says, I want to send more, less personalized, shitty messages. No one says that. No one's like, hey, let's convene a meeting and send more shitty email. But what's funny is everybody in this room got at least 20 pieces of crap today. So I find that fascinating that there's a gap between actual innovation. There's a gap between actual innovation and how companies implement it. And that's what the prism I wanted to share with you guys today. I don't want to talk about personalization because I think this ship has already set sail. What I want to share with you guys are the 5 innovations that I've shared with our 700 clients that they need to be very aware of, working on, and concerned about. Almost have a sense of urgency, right? So what I'm going to share with you guys is a 10-minute presentation that usually takes me a half a day to give to our clients, but I'm going to condense it down because you're all geniuses, right? And so you only need the 10-minute version. So if you're Costco, right, here's who you are. You're freaking big. You have the big thing of mayonnaise that your wife goes and buys that you don't know why. And at the end of the day, you're this. You have 50 million members. You're the 3rd largest retailer in the world and the 2nd largest retailer in the United States. And you generate $100 million a year through the email channel. Direct attribution, not some weird freaky math that somehow gets to 100 million. Direct attribution to the email channel. So this is who you are, and you're in this room, and they're all worried about what you're all working on. And so what I have to do is I've got to take everything that's happened in the email space and condense it down to the most probable things that will have the biggest impact on their business. And some of the stuff that people in this room are working on, some of them I think I'm smarter than you are, so I have a vision and a prism that I'm going to let you look through. So the first one is this. I continue to be, I was glad to hear that a bunch of people said mobile today. And I'm super excited that Google's going to be talking about the inbox today because I've been playing with it. But there's something really fascinating. I want to throw the gauntlet down. Somebody is going to tender email on a mobile device. How many people in the room, don't lie, how many people in the room have used Tinder? Okay, don't lie, stop lying, stop lying. Y'all are lying. Man, a room full of liars. Okay, so in the event that you ever use Tinder, what you will see is that they did 2 very interesting things. Number one is they removed all friction, right, by using the Facebook Open Graph API log-on authentication, right? The second thing that they did is they rethought the UX. I will challenge everybody in this room, and I'll even challenge the Google speakers that get up later. The reality is that the email experience on the client today hasn't changed much at all, right? It's still up and down, and it's still click to expand. Somebody is going to tender the email experience on a mobile device. I'm not saying your computer won't be different, but somebody is going to go figure out a new way for all of us to interact with email, okay? Google's here today, too. How many people in the room have money transferred any money over Google, over Gmail? Few people? Okay, here's a challenge for everybody in the room who hasn't done it. Go get a Gmail account. If you don't have one, go get one. Go get another Gmail account. Put $1 in your Google Wallet and transfer the money back and forth. And just see what it looks like, right? And I'm going to get to a second of why this matters. Not just so you can send $1 back and forth to yourself. You're thinking, that's stupid, a waste of time, right? But I'm going to get to a point here in just a second, right? But it's clearly an innovation, right? It's clearly an innovation that's going to lead to something I'm going to make a prediction about in just a second, okay? Everybody in this room should know about IP version 6, right? Everybody in this room should know about IP version 6. If you don't, go look it up. But the most important thing is that IP version 6, in my opinion, is going to change the credit scoring, right? On the email delivery side, from being an individual ISP, creating a credit score on me, to me actually having a credit score, right? Think Equifax, think TransUnion, think Experian, right? And I'm going to get to Costco in just a second of why this matters to them. Next innovation. We are going to move into a world very soon, and I think Google Inbox is the first step in that direction, where email at the top is not the way email works. Can everybody in this room imagine if whatever the last crazy-ass thing that somebody put on the internet is what popped up first when you went and did a search in Google? Right? That makes no damn sense. How many people in the room had a Pine Mail account? Okay? Look, I love when I ever ask that question, everybody smiles, right? I was STU 426 at www.georgiatech.edu.stu. So everybody hit me up with an email. Or you can just email me at alan.nance@georgiatech.com. Okay? Either one, pick which one. But the reality is this, is that email fundamentally, this idea of whatever the last piece of crap that you got in your inbox is the next piece of crap that you see at the top of your inbox, really hasn't changed ever. And I think that it's going to, and I'm going to tell you how it's going to impact them. And then lastly, I saw a bunch of tweets that people had today, really calling people out around the executable code access to the email client, right? Whether it's CSS or HTML5 or whatever. But everybody in this room, really, I don't know who the girl was, but somebody was straight up on Twitter, kind of mad, at wanting somebody in this room to ask the question, why is there not more sort of access to the inbox as it relates to true programming execution languages, right? And what is that going to do? It's going to fundamentally alter the way that we all interact with email. And what I can tell you is simple. I tell every client that I have is that it's not going to move towards Twitter, right? It's not going to be 140 characters of text. It's moving much more towards a 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional magazine, right? That's what email is going to. We're all going to interact with email in a much more interactive way. And there's a bunch of companies, Movable Ink, and a bunch of other companies that have that same vision and are chasing it, right? So if you take a look over the next 5 years, everybody in this room should be excited about email and be in love with email for a couple of very specific reasons. Number one, I think it continues to be the #1 digital marketing channel on the face of the earth, right? I'm telling you, I am not with a single retailer who's like, forget email, I'm doubling down on Facebook and Twitter. Nobody who's in charge of a $100 million business is prepared to do that. It's going to continue to be the #1 digital marketing channel on the face of the earth. It's going to become more mobile. Everybody thinks it's mobile now. Everybody hear me loud and clear. What we think it's mobile now, 5 years from now, won't even be close, right? The entire experience will be mobile. It'll be way more personal, be smarter, and here's the big one. You'll be able to transact over an email, okay? You'll be able to transact over an email. So let's go back to Costco. You're a Fortune 25 company. You're the 3rd largest retailer in the world. You have 50 million members. You send millions and millions and millions of emails. You drive $100 million a year of revenue through this channel, right? You make statements in meetings that I'm in like, you know, our email's not getting delivered. Can't we just call Google? So I'm here at this conference today to just tell you guys that if you work at Google, you just need to take my call and accept all of Costco's email because they think that's how the world works, right? Obviously I'm kidding. I don't expect you to do that. We can talk after the conference. So you're Costco, and email is really, really important to you. And you come to somebody like me, and you ask, what are the things that are happening in email, not just email marketing, that are going to impact my business the most? And I tell them that it is these things. Okay. So number one, it is, if you're Costco, you have a team of people, and everything I'm going to share with you now is factual. They're working on this right now. You're trying to move to a place where the innovation doesn't just lapse you, right? That you're a little bit more out in front of it. The first one is that email, you know, everybody's all enamored with this number that this year more than 50% of all email was opened on a mobile device, right? Everybody really lock in on this. What I'm saying isn't email is opened on a mobile device. I'm saying email is a mobile experience. Does everybody see the difference between those two? I really hope that you guys do. Because if you're Costco, that's a profound impact on your business. You're in the e-commerce business, and you got to somehow try to show your products in this new mobile, damn near Pinterest-like way. That's something you've really got to be working on, and it is something that they're working on. The second thing is this. If you go play with Gmail's money transfer thing, or you go play with Rebel Mail, right? Does everybody in the room know Rebel Mail? Go take a look at them. I'd encourage y'all to take a look at them, right? If you go take a look at any of these email innovation companies, today email is what? A traffic driver. Can you guys in this room imagine the day when you can transact a purchase inside of an email? Everybody see what I mean? Not get an email, click on it, go to a website and transact. I mean, I send Josh an email and he buys the new t-shirt that he wears because I've never not seen him have a t-shirt on. He buys the new t-shirt, right, inside of his email. It's game changing. Now, all of a sudden, everybody in this room is really running a payments transaction platform, right? So I work with Costco a lot to talk to them about, what is the impact that's going to have on their business, where now it's not just, let me send 5,000 things to Alan and just hope that he clicks on one of them. Let me try to figure out the one thing that is the next thing that Alan needs to buy, and let me send it to him and let him one-click purchase it inside of an email, right? Number 2, IP version 6. For a sender, this is really interesting because at the end of the day, it's going to allow our clients to build their own individual credit score, right? Because if you know the one thing that you need to know about IP version 6, besides some mathematician came up with some way that we're not going to run out of them, right, is that now there's a metadata layer inside of IP version 6 where they can actually transmit. It's not just dumb relay and, DNS, name transfers. There's actual elements of data inside that IP address. And then everybody think about this. If you're Costco, now all of a sudden you have to, as soon as it's not just email at the top, email at the bottom, now all of a sudden inboxes start to become like SEO. Right? Can you imagine worrying about inbox placement? If you don't open my emails, if you don't click on my emails, if I don't have engagement with you, Google and Gmail and Yahoo and Microsoft and Outlook and all these people are either going to put you in a different category, a different tab, or you're always going to be number 137. The only thing good that comes from this prediction is I don't have to go to another damn conference and have somebody tell me that Wednesday is email day. Right? This is the number one, not you guys, because not you, but every conference I speak at, everybody's always like, when's the very best time to send an email? I heard it's Wednesday. Right? So that's the only thing I love about this prediction is I don't have to answer that question anymore. Because the answer is it's 24/7, 7 days a week, and it's all about inbox placement. Can you imagine the implications for Costco as it relates to that? And then lastly, an enhanced user experience that has video and interactive and dynamic content and all kinds of everything you can do in a browser. Can you imagine the day where everything you can do in a browser you can do inside of an email? Everything. Purchase, see videos, autoplay, fill out forms, interact with it. Now, for the security people, I know we had some security presentations this morning. I understand the broad security implications of JavaScript and a lot of other things, right? I'm not trying to be flippant about it, and I'm certainly not trying to advocate for an innovation that makes us less secure. But what I am saying is I think everybody in this room is smart enough to figure out ways for things that be a better user experience and to be more secure. Does that make sense? So if you're Costco, these are the things that you're working on so that you can be prepared for email to be a $200 million business, a $300 million business, a $500 million business. And everybody in this room, what I wanted to share with you today is this. I am very interested in the email space. If anybody in the room has opinions on any of this stuff, is working on any of this stuff, I would love to look at it. I'd love to talk to you, and I'd love to have an opportunity to get to know you. So I have 3 minutes. That was pretty good, right? Right on time? Okay. Good.
Questions?
Questions. And I can go back here so you guys can ask any questions that you might have. Anybody? Once, twice? Come on, bring the technical stuff.
He can
Bring
code
the
on stage too.
super technical stuff. Okay? Everybody need another cookie or a Diet Coke?
Thank you. This is Mike Vayu from Dine. When you say
your company.
Thank you very much. You too. So IPv6. So everybody gets a unique credit score. So what is your thoughts on domain-based reputation?
Yeah. So a couple of things, right? So number one is if you go read the network neutrality legislation, there's a line in there that clearly opens it up for IP portability, right? So just like everybody in this room can go take your cell phone number and go change providers. Today, it's one of the ways that the telecom companies lock in people is that you can't port your IP address, right? So I think number one is I think IP addresses start to become the property of individual owners. I don't want to just say companies because hell, I might own the IP address for alannance.com. So what I think is that I still believe that the root of all sort of credit scores is going to be on an IP basis, just because I think it's the way that the internet works, and I don't see any foreseeable future of that changing. Yep. Anybody else? Going one time. Most technical presentation of the day. I get the award. Okay. All right, guys, y'all have been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alan.